I am going to be walking you through one of my favorite new features of Canva, shadows. So, if you have been a Canva user, you may have noticed that this was sort of a significant feature that was missing, a way to easily create shadows behind images. This is something I use especially, and a lot of my clients use for creating mockups of digital products. It helps give a more tangible, realistic feel to something like an ebook or a workbook or resource for a course or something like that when you can show it in a way that makes it have that kind of 3D tangible feel, especially in like a mock-up or something for a sales page, an email announcement on social media, and things like that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how simple this is. It literally takes a second, but I also want to show you what the process was that I was using previously for creating shadows so that you can understand why I am just so excited about this. What I was doing previously required multiple steps. It really was never all that great. It wasn't all that super consistent either. And frankly, as much time and effort as I would put into it, it never really looked all that great, all that convincing. So I'm really excited about how this is going to help people that are using Canva regularly to really make a difference in this particular aspect of creating a design, having that nice shadow. It's going to automatically size it and shape it for exactly what you've got. There's lots of different ways you can adjust the shadow as well. It's not just a one size fits all. So I'm really excited to show you this. Like I said, I'm going to walk you through what my process has been, and then I'll show you how easy it is to use this new feature. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so now we're in my Canva account. I've just gone ahead and created an empty page, a new blank project. And what I've gone and done is come up into my upload section where I have a bunch of different images that I've added to my Canva account. What you're seeing here is actually pages of a workbook that I have, my Developing Design Strategy workbook. And I'm going to go ahead and just add this image to my project. And this is just the cover page. And so, to give you an example of how I normally use shadows in my design, it's often in creating mockups for products, especially digital products. Myself and then a lot of my clients also have digital products that they offer, whether it's course resources and materials, or they sell different workbooks or ebooks and things like that that go along with the services that they offer. So when it comes to creating mockups, typically what you'll see is the pages that are part of, especially when it comes to a digital product laid out, they usually have like a shadow behind each page to really give it more of that 3D tangible look. It really helps when a potential client can see something and have it look a little bit more um, like of substance. Even though it's a digital product, you're not going to be getting something physically mailed to or anything like that. Having that mock-up kind of makes it feel a little bit more substantial. So I like to create them, and all my clients like to get them too. After I've designed something for them, they usually want mock-ups as part of that project. So I want to show you what I used to do to create mock-ups, because I think you'll understand better why I'm so excited about this new feature when you see what it used to take to create a mock-up. So I would bring in my image like this, and then I would come over to elements, and I would choose usually a square, and I would resize it to fit my file. And then I need to add a page, add a blank page, and then I need to drag my rectangle down here. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of it. So I want it to have that kind of shadowy look. So I'm going to make it into like a nice gray, shadowy color. And then what I want to do is I want to get it to have that blurry look to it that you would normally see with a shadow, right? Not this hard edge. So in order for me to be able to do that, I have to make this into an image. I can't add a blur to an element in Canva. It has to be an image. So in order to do that, now I have to download this image, this element as an image. So I'm going to go up to downloads, and I'm going to keep it here at PNG. I'm going to make it into a transparent background. That's going to remove the white part of this page. I'm going to click on page 2. That's the one I want to download. I'm going to click done and download. I'm going to get my file. And then I'm going to come up to uploads, And I'm going to drag and drop this in here to add my file. And now I'm going to come back up to my image, click to add my new rectangle. And I'm going to resize it. Trying to remember if I normally have to crop this or not. Let's see. And then I'm going to come to adjust and blur. Okay, and then I'm going to take my blurred rectangle and I'm going to move it behind. And now I have my image with my shadow. And then what I would need to do is if I wanted to create a mock-up of my entire workbook, you can see here I have all of these PNG images of the different pages of my workbook. I would need to bring all these in, make copies of each instance of this shadow, and line everything up so that it matches. The really fun part is when you want to reorganize a mock-up and you need to make sure that your image and your shadow are grouped together, because if they're not, you're going to just start wind up moving things around and misaligning things. So I'm going to keep this here. And then I'm going to come down to my second page and remove that guy. Now what I want to show you is how you can now do shadows. So I'm going to go ahead and add my cover page again. And this time, instead of going up to adjust, I'm going to go to effects. And what you'll notice is this new section here called shadows. I'm going to click see all so we can open all of that. And you can see now we've got 6 different shadow options that we can easily add to any image that we have in our Canva account. And right now you can see that it says none, no, none. So none is selected, but I can do glow, which is going to give me a shadow all around the border of my image. I can do a drop shadow, which is 2 sides. We can do an angle, which I really like. It's got kind of that look where all 4 corners are lifted off the page. A curve shadow, a page lift shadow, and then a backdrop, which is kind of more of that like standing up look to it, maybe for like a full book or something like that. But beyond this, even though I think this looks pretty good, you can see that when you click on any of these, you have that symbol here, which indicates there are more settings. So if I click on here and I click that settings, you'll see that I can actually change my drop shadow to be in any of these different locations. So if you want it to be on the bottom, the top, skewed to the left or right, all of those options are here in this drop down, which is awesome. I can also change the offset, so you can see it makes it look like my page is further up off the ground, or up off the surface, whereas if I just do a 0, it's very slight, and then mid-range. I can change the angle, so you can see how it sort of looks like it's turned a little bit. I can change the transparency. So if you want your shadow to be darker or lighter, you can change that. You can also change the blur, so it's more or less blurry depending on what you're looking for. And then you can even change the colors. So maybe you want your shadow to be red for some reason, you can go ahead and do that. And that can be kind of cool for different artistic looking things. Typically, if you're trying to create a more realistic shadow, you're going to stick with a gray or black. But yeah, so many different options. And then you can always click reset and take it back to the standard and just click apply. And yeah, you can definitely do a ton with these new settings. So I encourage you to come in, you're going to put in your image. You have to put your image in first or you won't have access to the effects menu. You'll click on effects, you'll click on shadows. I recommend just jumping into see all so you can play around with everything. You're going to click on whichever shadow you're interested in exploring, and you're going to have access to all of those different options now. So I hope that you're going to love shadows as much as I have. As you can see, the difference between what I created in all of those steps versus what is automatically done for me in a second, not to mention all of those different options I can play around with. And again, really customize this to be exactly what I need it to be. is kind of a game changer. So I'm really excited about it. I hope that you are too. If you do happen to start using shadows in any of your projects, maybe you're promoting something on social media or you create a blog graphic or something like that, go ahead and share it on Instagram and tag me at lauramcdowell.creative. I would love to see what you come up with.